What's up, guys? Got another video for you here this Friday. I am starting a new series of which I've kind of been wanting to do for a good long while, but I originally wasn't going to do it as a series. I wanted to do one big video, but I think it will work better as a series so I can continually make videos about this as I see fit or as I find things that I think would be worth mentioning, I think. So, we are listening to Of Roots and Flesh by Northern Oak. Northern Oak is a UK-based kind of folk metal, black metal band. It's really, really good. It's pretty mid-paced. It's catchy. It's really fun. I've been on a really big folk metal kick. Or, sorry, folk black metal kick. Little bits of folk metal here and there, too, I guess. But mostly that kind of stuff. You know, Managarm, bands like that, Goat Moon, quality. So check this out if you have not. We are going to be drinking a beer that I have actually been rationing so I could show it in this video. It's called Lifeblood. It's a dark bock. It is from Chicago. What is the brewing company? Old Irving Brewing. Really awesome. I saw this art and then I saw it was a dark bock and I just had to try it. So I've had one of these already and I loved it. So I'm very glad to be able to do, you know, maybe a little bit of promotion for this beer. A little over the top. Gotta make room, you know. Quality. Anyhow, back to what I was doing. So, I got 5 non-metal records here, which is pretty much going to be the trend of which I continue on this whole time. This time it's a folk theme. It could really be anything, but it's mostly just folk music here. So, I'm going to start off with possibly my favorite non-metal album of all time. Our Mother the Mountain by Townes Van Zandt. Some of my videos you guys have seen a Townes Van Zandt flag, which is right there up against the door out of my basement. This is my favorite songwriter of all time. Not one of, it is literally my favorite songwriter of all time. The guy is an absolute machine. Absolutely brilliant, profound beyond recognition as a lyricist. Deep all the way down to the center of the earth deepness of lyrical content. The dude is absolutely brilliant. It's unreasonable to me that this guy can do what he can. And this is his second album. For the Sake of the Song is from 1968, and then this is from 1969. This is so dark, it's not even funny. The record itself is a relatively cleanish, kind of raw production for a folk record from back in the day. And it is just very all-around warm and atmospheric, and it's really, really good for the fall sound. There's a lot of use of string quartets, which I thought originally was a keyboard because of how it's recorded. It doesn't sound as real. There's also a flute player, a flautist, if you will, and Townes doing his thing, some harmonica here and there, somebody else playing guitar as well. And these songs are just wonderful. I mean, they're dark themes, but they're also profound, and the guy's a real wordsmith with it. If you guys are familiar with Colter Wall, he did the song Snake Mountain Blues, which is on this album, but Townes' version. So, one of my favorite songs on here is Tecumseh Valley. It's basically a song about a woman moving to town because her dad lost his job as a coal miner. Her dad dies before she makes enough money to get back home. She becomes a prostitute, and then they find her murdered underneath the stairs in the bar she was working at. Or Our Mother the Mountain, which is literally a song about him falling in love with a witch. Stuff like that. It's just incredible. Go listen to this if you haven't. If you want the most natural, organic, dark folk music record you've probably ever heard in your life, that wasn't, you know, an obvious band trying to, you know, be all horror-like. This is just a guy... this is basically the sad mornings of a heroin junkie, and it is absolutely amazing. He's the best. Next, my fiance's favorite band. This is the Dead South with the album Sugar and Joy. I love this band. I'm a huge fan. I've seen them multiple times. A lot of you guys might be familiar with this one, but I'm going to let you guys hear a little bit about it anyway. This is basically a folk punk bluegrass band. It's folk punk in a lot of ways where it's, you know, quick moving and kind of like Flogging Molly type stuff, but it's bluegrass. So it's like folk bluegrass punk. It's cool. The guys write really good songs. It's pretty dark. There's songs about murder. There's songs about incest. There's songs about all kinds of darker and crazy topics. I mean, there's a song called Fat Little Killer Boy, Black Lung, Broken Cowboy, Snake Man, Crawdad Surfed Cold, Alabama People. It's great. It's the voice is really gruff. Nate, the lead singer's voice is really gruff, and this other lead singer, Scott Pringle, is a bit of a higher tenor voice, and Nate would be maybe a low tenor or a high bass. They really complement each other. The themes are dark. The music's really energetic. They have like a shtick where they kind of dress like pilgrims to an extent. It's really, really cool. I hope you guys check out the Dead South if you guys haven't, because I think you would really like them. I've heard Canyon talk about him before. I was a fan before I saw Canyon, so I was pretty hyped that he was into him. Check out the Dead South if you haven't. Next, another folk singer I'm a huge fan of. This is probably my favorite record of his, but this is 5 Leaves Left by Nick Drake. This guy, talk about another artsy-fartsy fellow, man. This guy was writing some of the headiest folk music you've ever heard in your life back in the day. I have all of his full-length records. But the song in here, Cello Song, first off, he invented his own tunings to play in. It plays basically in finger style a lot of the time. Some other stuff, some weird jazz chords and versions. Augmented chords, extended range stuff, you know, it's crazy, you know. The guy's really well-versed in his jazz abilities. It's basically a guy who got into writing music while being like a normal like sports guy, and then he just kind of shut off from the rest of the world, started doing a lot of drugs, literally camping out in his parents' attic and just making amazing music. As sad as it is to see people destroying their own lives to create art, it's really something. But this one is entirely super heady, really artsy, like I said, and it's dissonant, man. It's got some clashiness to it, and it's atmospherically almost psychedelic, which is crazy because it's barely anybody on here. There's like 2 or 3 musicians, including Nick himself, and he has a very monotone voice, which is just kind of like a smooth layer over the top. He's not trying to go crazy. He's really letting the atmosphere of the song and some of his wordsmith-like abilities to kind of shine more than anything. He's not trying to be an impressive vocalist. He knows what he's capable of, I assume. I don't know if he's that great of a singer in general, but he has a really fitting voice for what this guy's trying to do, and I think this is definitely a band y'all, or a guy you guys definitely check out. Nick Drake. Next, huge fan of these guys. I was originally going to pick the Clancy Brothers, but I picked the Dubliners. This is a 3 albums, 3 EPs on 2 discs set. This is traditional Irish folk music. These guys are, obviously not the first, this is a long-standing tradition, but they're kind of one of the bands that made it pretty big and known in the masses, kind of like the Clancy Brothers and stuff like that. They really make slow, it's just fun, man. I don't really know, it's a lot of slow stuff, it's a lot of vocal music with some single instrument accompaniment, maybe somebody playing some tremolo style stuff on a banjo, the tin whistle, but it's mostly multi-voice vocalist music, and they're singing traditional songs, a couple hundred-year-old songs. They're dark, they're raw, they're real. The vocalist isn't amazing. I forgot the dude's first name. If you guys are familiar with the Dubliners, it's the main singer. He has like a gruff voice with an incredibly thick Irish accent. And it's just interesting. There's dark songs, there's light songs, there's fun beer drinking songs. If you're a folk fan, or a folk metal fan, go check this out, just like you should the Dead South. It's great, man. It's fist pumping to an extent. The Clancy Brothers are great too, which I'll probably mention at a later date on this kind of a deal. But as far as it goes, you could see there's a fiddle, 2 guitar players, a banjo player, a tin whistle player, and then all the guys sing. So it's really fun, man. If you would imagine sitting in the back room in a Dublin bar, the Dubliners. Last one. I'm mostly just showing this one because I know y'all are just metalheads and you guys are really interested in the macabre style of things. This is Charles Manson, Awareness Records compilation. This guy was a musician before he became a cult leader. I've listened to this several times. He's trying to do blues stuff. He's trying to do folk stuff. He's trying to be a little artsy. He's trying to be a little straight ahead, trying to not really trailblazing or anything. He has a decent voice. He's an okay singer. Obviously, the guy's an absolute nutball in every sense of the word. But he's writing these crazy songs, really hippie-ish stuff. It's really folky. It's really heady. It's kind of psychedelic. Atmospherically, it's weird. And to hear a voice, you know, one of the world's most infamous serial killers of all time, it's pretty crazy to hear somebody like that doing this. It's very interesting. And if you guys haven't heard this, go check out a couple tracks off of this guy's stuff. I mean, people say I'm no good. Arkansas, I'll never say never to always. Don't do anything illegal is kind of funny. I once knew a man. It's just crazy, man. Go check this stuff out. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys like this series idea, let me know in the comments. I'll keep them coming. Until then, keep it greasy. I'll catch you next week.